kick things off here on Truth free-for-all, where he is fighting this first fight, and I believe that wasn't Wog, who has the pink Spartan. I'm not sure, but either way, we saw Nax getting taken off right off the bat. When that's a little tough. I mean, he had the pink side. I felt like he had kind of height advantage.
Definitely. So the big thing to watch out for, obviously, in my opinion, would be the Pistola Flex Kira battle here. As you can see, heat number 1 results on the right-hand side of your screen. And we do have Wog with the camouflage, though, so let's see what Wog's able to do, because, again, not out of it, 5th place here. If he's able to get a first or a second place, that will give him 8 points.
I mean, Wog is tied for first at the moment, but the only part that concerns me there was he had camo, carbine, sword, and only able to get 2 kills from that. And I feel like that's one of those moments where you need to translate that into 5 or potentially 6 kills and hopefully carry that lead on through the rest of the game.
Yeah, or, try to get into a power position, too, even if you can't get the kills. Maybe make your way into P2, maybe just slow play it. And that's one of the things that we heard Boobadoobie talking about in his interview. Just, waiting for your opportunity to collapse. Use your headphones, use your Astros. Use the information around you, because you don't have any callouts. You have to get a feel for that. And if you're running around and sprinting, you're not going to be ready to engage in any fights.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to find that right balance of using the movement mechanics of Halo 5 and knowing when to slow it down so you can get the first shot on a player.
All right, so let's see what Pistola is going to do, because we all know he kind of had a not necessarily rough first game, but
I mean, we're talking about Pistola and it's round 2. And you'd assume someone like Pistola in round 2 is just going to continue to dominate, similar to like Pat in the past, like 2006, 2007. He was always dominating the free-for-alls up until like probably round 4 or round 5.
Now, something to point out
is Nax.
No.
Is there an alert?
He's got a goose right now. I mean, it's 2 minutes into the game, and he's still hunting it down, and there it is. Give this man a breadstick. He just picked one up. Everyone, little claps here, little golf claps going on in the Millennial Esports Arena. Appreciate the love, guys.
But the whole point being, you brought up a good point, is Nax took second last round. He had exactly the same amount of kills as first place, just edged out by assists and having a rough start here. Generally, when you place like first or second, you just have to kind of coast along through the next heat. And right now, Nax is in a tough position, so we're going to have to see if this affects how he plays. Grabs that camo at 9:35, but too many players focusing on him. This is not good for Nax, as he just gives up another death.
So Ola has made his way into second place now, and someone that could be a huge player here, again, is Kira, who got 4th place. Now, if you have Nax that's sitting, obviously, in last place currently with that rough start, that's Kira's opportunity to go and pounce on that. So Ola, everybody else, Nax, Kira, they're all battling it out for this top 3. So Nax has to pick it up here, finding 3 kills. But Wog, interestingly enough, making his way up.
Where did Wog come from?
With that Red Master Chief.
I was about to just give a bunch of props and say the person who's been most consistent throughout this is Destroyed. I mean, we see Wog and Destroyed tied for first at the moment, 9 kills apiece. So we kept talking about Nax, we kept talking about Ola. But one name that keeps going kind of under the radar is Destroyed. I mean, he won last game. He's tied for first and second game. Obviously very consistent with his shot and in these free-for-all games.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that Destroyed is going to continue to make a name for himself because of the decisions that he makes. He has his own play style.
Shots.
He is very aggressive, and he gets in your face a lot. And it's something that can really throw a player off because you're not expecting that type of aggression. But really, it just comes down to him just being like, hey, man, I'm going to run right through you, get the kill, and move on to the next guy.
Yeah, and that's a very underrated skill. It's hard to quantify in Halo is when those players can get up close and win those fights consistently. I put Ola in kind of that same sort of book where he was always such a tough player to fight, especially in something like Halo 3 when he got up close because he played 5 cents. He knew how to jump around, hit those shots when you're above or below him, and always hit those melees. So that's what I'm kind of seeing from Destroyed is that he can get in some of those close-range engagements and win those fights, and those are some tough ones. Almost any player in Halo is comfortable in those mid-range fights, can hit shots like that, but when you get caught off guard and someone's right next to you, how do you deal with that pressure? And Destroyed knows how to deal with that very well.
Yeah, that's a good point, is when you have a certain sensitivity, whether it's 3, 4, 5, or, there's a handful of different sensitivities now in Halo 5, the horizontal, the vertical sensitivities, and then you even have the inner and outer dead zones, all that type of stuff. So it's interesting to see all of those things added, but there's pros and cons to both of them. Obviously, like you said, if you're playing on 5 sensitivity, it may not be as easy to win your long-range in-scope battles, maybe from P2 to top car, if you're not used to having that type of sensitivity. But in a battle where you got to fly out from P2 and look P1 really quickly, or turn around and try to land a melee or a splinter grenade onto somebody, that's where 5 cents really pays off.
Absolutely. And when players ask me about what sensitivity they should be going for and what they should be trying, in my opinion, it's the high sensitivity that you can still consistently win all your mid to long range fights. You still have to be able to hit those, because I still feel like the mid to long range fights are the majority of the game, especially when you're in your team game. You always want to be able to lay down shots across the map, or mid range fights, which I think are the most common in this game. You have to be able to hit 5-shot as consistently as possibly can.
Yeah, so here it is. Ola sitting in first place still, but the big story, Nax and Kura, they're sitting at the bottom right now. So let's go and scroll through these guys and see what they're up to. Kura sitting with only 6 kills, Nax with only 8. This is your second place, Dave, and fourth place finishers from the previous game. So Destroyed, he's sitting pretty right now. No worries for him, even though he's in third place. But Ola's starting to run away with this one. So again, who is going to be that fourth player to really step it up? I think that if Nax, he's able to secure a even fourth place finish, with his second place finish, that should be enough points.
It should be, but we have some people kind of throwing some wrenches into this heat right here, especially someone like Wog, who I believe was third just not too long ago. Now in second place, running with the sword up into pink too. Wog coming out of nowhere, maybe just having a rough round, because we saw him take fifth place last round, but at the same time, if he takes first or second here, we've seen players go on in that situation. I believe just this last round, we saw Swamp Monster and one other go based on taking second and fifth. They got 7 points.
Remember, I was saying 8 points is
8 sort of
the number,
secures it
right?
for you.
8 secures it.
And this would be 8 if Wog can take first.
Mathematically, 8 secures it no matter what, right? Technically.
Yeah, I would have to double check certain parts, but I can't imagine. So yeah,
right?
To me it makes sense.
So 7, like I said, it's like being a wild card team in sports, right? Where it's like you're kind of in the race, but you kind of still have to play this other game to make it into the playoffs, which could be that other game technically isn't another game, that's a 1v1. It just kind of goes down to kills, deaths, and assists after that. So I feel like we are going to be seeing maybe 2 3-way tie for 7 points, Dave.
Yeah, and I just did the math, and 8, there would be rare circumstances if someone took, like, if you want me to go through the math, it'd be like first and fourth, that would be 9 points each, and then if someone got like second each time, so there would be rare circumstances where you couldn't get by getting 8 points, but for the most part, I would agree with you saying if you get 8 points, you should be pretty safe.
Definitely, and there's just so many different circumstances that you can never expect, and I have to say, this is the first free-for-all today where we've seen such a discrepancy in the players that had first and second up until this first and second game.
Yeah, but Destroyed doing a good job holding on to his lead, whereas, like we said, Nax has to step it up at some point. He's in some trouble. I believe he only has 14 kills at the moment. He's the one who I'm most concerned about because, as you said, he needs to move up, without a doubt. He can't just let fate decide if he's moving on or not. If he wants to get any sort of chance, he needs to bump up into fourth or third, but I can't tell if some of these players are getting too far out of reach.
One of the things that is also interesting is that we're seeing, I believe, a higher amount of kills amounted here on Truth than compared on Mercy. So that is
that tie factor could be
favor in Wog.
Yes,
we'll
that
go
absolutely.
In Wog's favor.
That's a very good point because last game we saw 27 or 20. I think it was 27 or 23 kills in first place.
I can't remember, and Ola already has that amount.
Yeah, and so everyone's going to be bumping that up, and that's going to, like you said, play in Wog's favor if Wog is able to keep this up. But in order for Wog to move on, he needs at least second. I mean, we don't always know the exact breakdowns of these, but like you said, I agree. 7 points is, you can move on with that. 8 points, I would feel very confident with.
Yeah, so he was able to rack up 2 points overall. And then the guy that he's trying to battle it out with is Naxus, who got second place and now is sitting in fifth as well. So that is looking like it could be a tie here. And again,
and that would favor Wog.
It would favor Wog because he's racking up a lot of kills. But look, Nax is now in fourth place there with 18 kills. So if he can get fourth place, that should give him
He'd edge
that
out.
number.
Yep.
That should give him
so
that
he
magic
needs
number
to
that he
make
needs.
sure he does not get fifth place. Get something higher than fifth place, and I think Nax
But then Wog,
would be
if he
moving
gets
on.
first and Nax gets fourth,
yeah,
that's a different story.
Yep. But it's going to be really tough, I think, for Wog at this point to get first. When we see Ola just taking off, has 30 kills at the 2-minute, 10-second mark. It's going to be really tough to sort of come back from that, especially when you have Storm Rifle, Camo, Splitter Grenades, all in the hands of Ola.
Yeah, Ola was no shields, though, when we went on board with him, so he wasn't able to make it out there with his life. So we are going to stick on board with the storyline here, which is definitely Naxxus, who got second place previously on Mercy, now sitting in fourth place. He needs to secure this top 4 finish with Wog closely behind him. So Wog, he also needs to get second place, and Naxx needs to get fifth in order for him to make it in, or at least go to the tiebreaker here. So we're going to continue to switch back and forth, and that's a big win. You know that, Red Master Chief, who that is. That's Wog's dead body.
It always feels so good when you are in a free-for-all situation. You know that somebody is quite a threat to you, and you get in that 1-versus-1 situation against them, and you beat them, and it just knows that it's kind of that double positive. You set yourself forward, and you set them back.
Here it is, though. Wog's still hanging around there. He is in 25 kills with second place, and you got to assume that behind him is going to be Destroyed. So he picks up that kill. Let's see how many kills Destroyed has. He's also sitting at 26 kills, so interesting.
This is really close between second, third, and fourth. Wog is has a very little amount of breathing room, but great Splinter Grenade. But unfortunately, it sets it up for another player who is top center, not able to clean up any of those kills, and that's frustrating. Right now, if I was Wog, I'd probably get in towards Red Attic and try to see if I could just get a pick on anyone who spawns there. Looks like he makes the correct decision, gets a pick off towards Car 3, and is looking for any sort of fight he can find.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, caught off guard from the guy who spawned over at Red.
Uh-oh, that was Destroyed that picked up that kill too. So big kill coming out from him. That's going to push him into second place. Now you do have another tie here with Wog being there. Now where is Naxx? He's sitting in fourth place. Is it a comfortable fourth place, though? We'll stay on board with him because, again, if he is able to secure fourth, that should be enough points for him.
It is not comfortable, and as you notice, him just launching grenades across the map, that's the sign of desperation. Naxx looking like he will take fourth place. Now it's a question of Wog versus Destroyed for this second place spot. It looks like Wog gets second place, so we're going to have to see how that plays out. Wog is going to end up with 7 points. I think Naxx ends up with 8, though.
He does.
Correct?
He ends up with 8.
And that means Destroyed, Ola, and Naxx will be moving on.
That's just a great job by Naxx at the very mid to end game, stepping it up, getting the kills that he needed. He was in last place.
Yeah.
I believe, was it?
With 0 kills, and first place was at like 9.
Yeah, it was like, he was like 8, 7, 8. And you're sitting there wondering, is this guy going to be able to get out of his spawn cycle? Is he going to be able to pick up a kill? Gets that sword kill, and then all of a sudden gets fourth place, ends up moving on. So congratulations to all of our players in that game, especially to the guys that will be moving on. But one of the things that was nice was Ola coming into full form and giving a little smile at the end there. So saw him shaking his head. He was a little bit frustrated, but you know, with the birthday coming up in 2 days, you don't want to have a bad free-for-all performance.
You don't want to have a bad birthday,
no,
that's for
no,
sure.